So I went to open mic something. A friend of mine was organizing readings, performances of authors, and I was absolutely floored by In Q, and I'm glad I didn't forget that he's on the program, because it's like one of those, whoa, where did you come from? Well, he's been around. I didn't know. The slam poetry movement is alive and well, and he's one of the people at the forefront of this, and I think you're going to enjoy this performance. In Q.
Hello. Can we get some crowd participation? Hello. That was cool. Thank you very much. That's what I like to do. I like to lose people up front and then have to get them back. I don't believe in fairy tales, but I believe in dreams. That everything I've seen isn't always as it seems. That moments are like movie scenes. Angels watch me on their screens eating popcorn, laughing at my idiocracy. And I'm the main character, the hero and the villain. I'm like Memento because my story ends at the beginning. I wrote it in my head, but can't recall the plot. So I just say my lines and try to show up on my mark. I'm playing me, and I'm method in my research. So I swan dive into ice and fall in love feet first. See, I have to take responsibility for every part of it because I'm the one that's been here since the start of it. I got the part but lost the script. Life should have a starter kit. Shit, I'm only acting because I'm living for the art of it. I casted my supporting roles, styled my hair, bought my clothes, chose what my objective was and tried to focus on my goals. But there were obstacles. My mission seemed impossible, hopping over hot coals, sidestepping potholes, and now somehow I'm so close, I'm mainlining no-dos. I can't afford to let my eyes close before the deals close. Hustle like I'm starving for a meal, because I remember how that feels. So instead of clicking my heels, I dig my heels in and reinvent the wheel. Leonard Cohen said we have to live our lives as if they're real, and I was like, that's how I feel, because I could make whatever type of movie that I want to make, but the title of my life has always been The Great Escape. You ever wake up in the middle of the night half conscious and half in a dream state? When shit is so fuzzy, you can barely see straight. And for that beautiful moment, you are weightless with a clean slate. But then you blink and it opens up the floodgates, and you remember who you are, and you're like, no thanks. So you go smoke some dank or pour a drink, but instead that makes you overthink, and your identity comes pouring through the portal in your head that's connecting you with outer space, filling up the mortal space in your empty blank face like a quarter dropped into a piggy bank without the clank. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? Man, this human shit can be whack. I would rather be a panda, or an ant, or a parrot, or a fucking salamander, or a whale with a tail that's the size of a freighter, so that I could swim the ocean from equator to equator. I would rather be an alligator, just to have a killer grin. I wouldn't care what anybody thought about me then. I would rather be the wind, so that I would never end and never begin. I feel so fucking trapped in my skin. I would rather be a beetle or a beagle or an eagle soaring high above the clouds, far from cities filled with people, passively participating people, overpopulating, propagating, postulating people. Don't you fucking hate people? Seriously, myself included. We're all so fucking stupid. None of us know what we're doing. And yet we seem to think whatever we do is so important that we claim an idea and we kill each other for it. I'd rather be the forest. I wouldn't judge the seasons. If all my leaves fell, I wouldn't analyze the reasons. I'd bend to every storm, but cling to every root. I'd be 1,000 years old and still be in my youth. Hey, you. Feel good? Say yeah. All right, but you've seen a lot of people on stage tonight, so for all of them, if you feel good, say yeah. I'm not going to talk a lot in between my poems. Usually I do. The only thing I'm going to say is that the person that handed me the mic, his name is Mike. I think that's awesome. How you doing, Mike? Everybody say hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. Yeah, that's how you bond a room. This is based on a true story. I've actually only done this one time before, but I feel comfortable with you guys. I'm in love with a Republican. It's crazy, but it's true. And if we can make it work, then so can you. She believes in smaller government, trickle-down economics, and job creators doing what they've promised. I believe in free health care, that millionaires should pay their fair share for the opportunities it took to get them here. A little here, a little there could help to go a long way for people who are day-to-day in poverty. And possibly, that philosophy could start to rebuild a middle class that's been slowly decimated in the past 20 years, mostly because of corporate greed being more important to our politicians than the people's needs. Oh my God, please, that's naive, but it's cute. If my taxes help poor people, show me where's the proof. The 99% are getting carried by the 1%. Personally, I don't think that they deserve another cent. Welfare has turned into an acceptable excuse not to produce and keeps communities in a dependence loop. We should cut them loose. If they respect themselves enough, they'll find something to do. Otherwise, the problem's not on me or you. Well, part of that is true, I'll give you that, but you're not taking education into consideration in this conversation, or the history of institutionalized racism, or the drug laws that keep communities in paid prisons, or the way religion has been used as a division. I just think you're missing why the government might need to step in, assess the situation that we're facing, and provide a social safety net for changing it. Americans deserve to have an equal chance at making it, which makes me think of nakedness. Anyway, you get the point I'm trying to make. Plus, you're sexy when you're mad. Can I go down on you like a fire escape? At first, she laughs. Then she straightens out her face and asks, wait, how do you explain Obama? We're beyond the past. Hate is hate. Our country's in a better place. It's not about race. It's about rights, and those should stay within the states. Okay, I'll play. Just because Obama got elected doesn't mean our system as a whole has been perfected. It's subjective. And we are the United States. That's why we had a civil war from 1861 to 1864. Wrong. It was 1865. I just looked it up. And either way, our debt's a bigger problem than our social stuff. We owe $17 trillion, and it's going up with no sign that it's slowing up. Barack is spending money while the debt clock is blowing up. The stock market's going nuts. Hold it up right there, because that is totally unfair. Bush put 2 wars on a credit card for 8 years. Now Obama's paying for it, and you want to go blame him for it? What the fuck else was he supposed to do? He can't ignore it? Why are you yelling? I'm not yelling. I'm just passionate. I'm trying to get us on the same page like an asterisk. Well, you should dial it back a bit because your facts are inaccurate, and when you act like this, it just gets me so pissed. I mean, it's only common sense. Look at how Obama spends. It's more than just defense. We're careening off the fiscal cliff. We need to get a grip before complete collapse. Unemployment would be double digits if they didn't cheat reporting stats. Yeah, according to Fox News, perhaps. Fair and balanced, my ass. The only stats that they count is cash by perpetuating fear for commercial revenue and pushing Rupert Murdoch's right-wing agenda through your living room. How can we debate when your side refuses compromise and peddles lies, even at the risk of our complete demise, then blames us for being un-American when they've rejected almost every bill we've cried, and Boehner had the nerve to cry? You're yelling again. Can you please lower your voice? This is not a competition over who can make the loudest noise. We both made some valid points, and at the very least, we can agree on legalizing pot, gay rights, and pro-choice. I'm not a bad person. Baby, I never said that you were a bad person. In fact, I'm certain you're a great person. That's why you're all up in my head like a brain surgeon. And usually you have me wrapped around your finger like a sea urchin. Seriously though, I'm sorry for the fucking cursing. Politics turns me into an insane person. I pause and wait for a response. She stares at me with crossed arms. She leans in for a little kiss. I pucker up my puny lips. You want to watch some Fox News? I promise not to blow a fuse. How about we watch some BBC? That way it's neither you or me. She crawls into my open arms. I hold her tight and all is calm. You know I love you even when you're wrong. But promise me you'll never try to have this conversation with my mom. So we broke up. All right, I'll do one more piece. So my name is NQ, and it's short for inquiry. Just means to ask questions about your environment, you know. And I constantly do that, and that's where most of my material comes from. So if you're interested in looking me up, it's just IN-Q, and you can find any information on all the social media stuff. And this next piece, I wrote it because I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were talking about being overextended. And they said, it's hard for me to say no. And I was like, well, I can relate to that. And then later on in the day, I was talking to somebody else, and they said, it's hard for me to say yes. And I thought I can relate to that. It's hard for me to say no. It's almost easier to say, fuck no, motherfucking titty-sucking two-ball hoe. Now get up and go before I crack a bottle over your skull. It's like that, yo. This ain't a show. It's hard for me to say yes. It's easier for me to say next year when the weather's fine, when I have the money or the time or the relationship I want or the career or the house or the car or the watch. Watch life pass you by waiting for an invitation when the world is bigger than my nation or my occupation. The only thing I know is that we're all in this together, and the future of this earth depends on how we treat each other. But how we treat each other starts with how we treat ourselves. And how we treat ourselves starts with how we see ourselves. And how we see ourselves starts with context. Nothing can exist without its opposite. Remember this, the next time you find you're in an argument, both sides are talking shit, and you forget your point except you're angry now and want to win, so you continue yelling till they give it up by giving in, so you can stand victorious because you're right on what again? That's why we send young people to war. Young people tend to die without asking what for. But one man's ceiling is another man's floor. Let's meet up in between, said the ocean to the shore. Hopelessly inquisitive, a mind without a master. I watched the master on a tab of acid, then performed after. And yet my set was an unparalleled disaster because all the poems came out as... You know this is all bullshit, right? Do you laugh on impulse or do you choose to laugh? Do you ask because you care or do you merely ask? I ask you this because I care about how humans act. We're animals aware of our future and our past, and this can be an obstacle to traveling our path. Instead of just accepting where we're at, we analyze our tracks for what we could have had, looking back, focused on the memories instead of on the facts, hence what we attract. But it's hard to factor in how fast it really flashes past. It's an exponential graph from creation into ash. I'm sentimental 1 minute, then I'm making plans, staking claims, shaking hands, breaking out or breaking in. I have about 1 billion mimes hidden underneath my skin, and they pull my face into this grin or push my wrinkled forehead in. So pour the gin, philosophize, cause no one has your awesome eyes. Your view is worth the lows and highs you go through on these coaster rides. Control has got me holding on when letting go could be more fun. Hands up. Feel the drop. Eventually this all has to stop. Level out, then come back up until I reach the very top, because one day all your wheels fall off, so take advantage of your shocks. Do something you've never done. Do someone you've never done. Go someplace you've never gone. Someplace that could scare you some. Be someone you've never been. You feel all that adrenaline? It's medicine to jumpstart the spark inside your skeleton. See, everywhere you are is where you're supposed to be. So hopefully you're hopelessly as lost as me. Because if you're not, you ought to be. I'm NQ. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.